I'm Simply Positive. Today, I will introduce my education series covering category theory. This course features three distinct sections. The first is base category theory. The second is structured category theory. The third and final section is standardized category theory. This structure serves two core objectives. First, we will progress slowly, we will avoid jargon, and maintain clear progression. Second, this structure maximizes your creative flexibility. Category theory relies heavily on imagination. I refuse to let technical details restrict your personal expression. Because of this course will provide no examples. I will use category theory to analyze examples in later series. However, I will not let specific examples narrow your current imagination. If I explain the concepts clearly, the applications will appear intuitively. Every video follows a strict format. We will always start with a summary of the previous lesson. I will then give you some specific terms to write down. Next, we will then begin the core lesson plan to define those terms. After that, I will then summarize the current session that we're on. And then finally, I will bring everything together into a succinct and cohesive narrative. By the end of this course, you will possess a single narrative string, almost like a story that you can tell yourself. When you speak the story, it should unlock everything you have learned about category theory, and it will allow you to be able to recall the lessons you learned in order to make your own categories and to apply the themes learned in category theory. So, before the main course begins, I just have some prerequisites before we actually get started with category theory. The first prerequisite is understanding a definition. And the second prerequisite is understanding a mapping. And the third prerequisite is understanding something called the tag system that we will utilize in category theory. So, you're going to learn that in category theory, um, everything in category theory is you can treat it like an object almost, although that's not the formal definition. I like to call them better things so that I don't get into name conflicts with what objects actually are. I like to call I like to say category theory is filled with things instead. And to define a thing, to give a definition of a thing, you first give you first write the term of that thing followed by a colon, and after that colon you can provide either a description or a mapping. Okay? And what a mapping is it represents a structural relation. And all it is it's denoted by an arrow. So whenever you do a mapping, you basically write your thing 1, you write your arrow, and all your arrow says is that thing 1 relates to something, and on the other side of that arrow is thing 2. So for a mapping, you would literally have thing 1 relates to thing 2, thing 1, arrow, thing 2. Okay? And then finally, we have something called a tag system. So in category theory, there is a lot of weird notation. Kind of looks like hieroglyphics, Greek algebra almost. And sometimes it can confuse students when trying to take on a new system of notation. So rather than do all of that, we're gonna do something called the tag system. And all that is whenever we want to describe a thing in category theory, we first write the tag, which is the type of thing that we're describing, followed by the name, right? So let me give an example. If we're talking about objects, then we would write the object tagged followed by the name of that object. Or if we're talking about categories themselves, we would write the category tag followed by the name of that category. Does that make sense? And that pretty much fills up our prerequisites for that pretty much sums up our video for category theory today. So we learned some of the prerequisites that are required before we actually start the main course, which is definitions, mappings, and the tag system. So in the next video, we are going to dive into basic category theory or base category theory, which is learning what is category theory at its core and what you should be able to take from that video are some of the lessons that you can go out to give basic descriptions of relations, but you'll find out in the next video. Thank you for your time. I am Simply Positive, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.